The day has come. The day of the tentacle. Wait, that's kind of dirty. Anyways, we're throwing some chairs at it. It's from Double Fine Productions, originally from LucasArts, but they don't exist anymore. So Tim Schafer scooped up all their shit. It's on the SCUMM engine, the 2009 version of the Maniac Mansion. You can pick it up for around 15 of your local currency. And what is it? Dr. Fred's mutated purple tentacle. They have a cream for that, you know. Is about to take over the world, and only you can stop him. This is ported by John Bush. It was originally released in LucasArts in 1993 as a sequel to Maniac Mansion. It's a mind-bending time travel cartoon puzzle adventure game in which three unlikely friends work together to prevent an evil mutated purple tentacle from taking over the world. Say that 5 times fast. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Like all these Double Fine games, the fine folks at Double Fine did send us some keys for it, so get ready for us to tear into it all legit style. We have the CHAIRQUISITION, which is 1 chair is garbage, 2 chairs is meh, 3 chairs is all right, and 4 chairs is amazing. We also got a categories of Doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. Well, so let's kick this off. Then, did the SCUMM VM thing work on your Ubuntu box, or is it just too new?
Oh man, it did push it to the limits, Brother Svang. Well, over here on the AMD 8150 octo core, technically overclocked. It's running at 4 gigajoules, but that's kind of like permanent boost mode instead of an overclock. With the 980 displayed with the 4Ks, will UHD, and all that business, it runs all right, as one might expect. Getting about 60 FERPs at 1080 and also at 2160. 3840, 2160. Some people call that 4K mistakenly. Look it up. No complaints. Nothing crashed. Didn't have any issues. There's no resolution options. But then again, it's a Double Fine game, so you pretty much come to expect not full screen, full screen. No issues whatsoever. 4 chairs. Good start.
Yeah, on the now Fedora 24 powered box of business with the i7-6700K and the 980, it ran perfectly fine. I also played a good chunk of it on the new laptop, which has the i7-6700HQ and the GTX 960M, and both of them were way too powerful, and the frame rate went through the roof, and then the game exploded. 4 chairs.
No, it actually wasn't, because it's locked. It's locked at 60, and like Grim Fandango before it, there's absolutely nothing to point out here. These are one of the very few games that where the frame limiting is a good thing. Now, I've already heard the fans on the 1080 scream at the top of its aluminium fins, surprisingly quiet actually, with some of the benchmarks. No need to put more strain on it, rendering Day of the Tentacle at like 3,000 FERPs. So on Fedora 23, 64-bit with the FX8370E overclocked at 4.2 GHz, and the GTX 1080 G1 Gaming, 4 chairs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in order to make the performance seem like the game is actually doing something, they just included a Bitcoin miner for gits and shiggles. Yeah, but that's 4 chairs for mixed with the working. Up next is shiny and sounds. Ben, how did the updated art look?
Amazing. Genuinely, it does look amazing. It is 100% a bit of all right, but if we're going to be honest with ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it does kind of look like somebody took an auto-vector convertotron to the original content and scaled it up just a bit. Not saying that's a bad thing in the slightest, but yeah, I'm also kind of just saying, 0 fucks were given with mouth movement and actual audio sync. But, you can hit F1, you can go back and look at the pixelated. It's interesting getting old. I'm on the verge of old. You're on the verge of old because you're about to go do something and it's a bad idea and you still do it anyway. That's how you know you're on the verge. But, yeah, that wasn't available in the first one with the pixelated mess. I mean, there's very limited mouth movements, and you just forget about it. You get used to it. That's how things used to rock and roll back in 1993. Again, with the visuals, no issues with the remastered stuff. It just it's very vectory to me in the way that they remastered it. Nothing wrong with it again. However, with the sounds, the audio track, you're listening to it. First of all, I want to say they included the director's commentary. Haven't got a chance to listen to that because I kind of want to go through the game first. And it's going to take me a long time to go through this game because I'm not a damn cheater and I haven't looked up any guides because that's how Vince don't fuck mothering rules, son. But Double Fine located the original masters for the audio. So this thing absolutely 100% makes with the sounds. It sounds fantastic. And if you like audio dialogue, you're in for a treat because, boy, it has it. So for Shiny and Sounds, I mean, and plus, one thing, they did the same thing with Grim Fandango. With this one, you hit F1 and it goes back to the pixelated mess. And like, I don't remember it looking that bad. And he was like, yeah, but that was like an EGA graphics display, Vin. Get off your own lawn. And that definitely happened. But 3 cheers for the Shinies and the sounds.
Oh man, that voice acting, that's some quality 90s stuff right there before we got actual actors voicing in games. And I mean, so yes, for what it is, the game looks good. The remastered models look infinitely better than the old one. I'm still not blown away. Yes, I realize this is a remastered version of a game that came out in the 90s, but if you're going to release the game now, you kind of have to be willing to judge it by modern standards. If this were just the updated version of the original version, I might be tempted to give it that 3rd chair. Not quite. I mean, everything looks fine. Everything sounds fine. I'm really just not blown away by it, so I'm going to give it 2 chairs because it's kind of meh.
No, it gets bonus points for the remastered audio, definitely. That said, visually, the game is still actively trying to maintain the dithering in the backgrounds and the slow/low frame count animations. This wasn't as glaring when it came to Grim Fandango, although that game's 3D models on top of the 2D backgrounds were certainly jarring on their own. I guess those are the limitations of having the new engine still be based on the old SCUMM engine. Maybe it's time to remaster the engine itself. A Double Fine, 3 chairs.
All right, that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control. Then
I like this section because it's short and it's sweet, and I get to make sweet verbal love to our good friends at Double Fine because you point, you click, and shit gets done. And I mentioned earlier, just a moment ago, F1, you can go back to the original control scheme and how that actually worked. You're like, wow, that's horrible. That's miserable. No. And it really leads you to appreciate the reworked system that they have with the controls for your gerbil. It's nice. Technically, you can play this with a controller. I think Jordan will talk even more because he did a bit of a live stream that Pager and I joined in, and he pulled out his Areola controller and he was like, holy shit, this kind of works. Or it might have been the PS4. Who knows? I forget. But yeah, nothing to knock it on that because it's a point-and-click adventure game. You don't pull out your Nintendo Power Pad and go, this doesn't work. So, yeah, good job on that. 4 chairs.
1 chair, it didn't work with my DDR pad now. That's I mean, it does think that my Steam controller is a PlayStation 4 controller. Ben was half right. Whatever that means. But yeah, you point and you click and you point and you click some more. I didn't tinker with the old controls because why would I? 4 chairs.
Yeah, the whole controller support was a very good surprise. Both the Mistress and the Logitech F310 worked out of the box if you really need them. Don't know why you would. But yeah, the biggest surprise, Ven already mentioned this, came when I saw that they give you the old UI with the use, open, close, push, pull, etc., what have you as commands. But they also give you the newer UI. Which happens to be very, very similar to that which you found in Broken Age. I'm almost willing to believe the Broken Age Kickstarter was to fuel the R&D necessary for the remasters of their old games, and Broken Age itself was just kind of a side thing.
No,
Tim.
Elijah would beg to differ.
Yeah.
I'm on to you there, Tim. 4 chairs.
Yeah, so we don't want to make the hobbits angry if they're vicious and they go for the yanks on the crotch. You gotta be careful. That's 4 chairs for Control. Let's wrap this up with fun. Ben, did you enjoy Day of the Tentacle Remastered Edition?
Sit back and relax and get ready to yell at whatever viewing device that you're watching this on, because here's the disclaimer. I never played Day of the Tentacle. Didn't happen. It just flew by my radar, and I was like, okay, never got around to it. It was a DOS game. Probably should have played it. But here's the thing. Old point-and-click adventure games like this, especially in that time, they're hella obtuse. I mean, they require a metric fuckload of time, and unless you're sitting at home on summer holiday or a recent graduate with a degree in liberal arts, you're not going to have that much time to sit and figure this out unless, again, you're cheating, lying, well, not necessarily lying, but definitely a cheater and looking up guides and stuff like that. That's just, come on. You can do better than that. What is the game? Is it fun? Again, never played it. This is 2016, fresh eyes on it. What is it? 3 people stuck in 3 different times with a very novel time travel mechanic, I guess, for the time. Definitely more of a, like, Bill and Ted, because you can kind of throw stuff back and forwards and it ages. Don't want to spoil anything. On top of that, you steal things and attempt to use them on other things. That's really what it is. If you hate to boil it down, put it in a sentence, that's what you're doing the majority of the time. But sometimes you got to combine some of your stolen items with other stolen items because, it was 1993 and that was kind of an edgy thing to do back then. Outside of that, it's listening to endless dialogue. Mind you, some of that dialogue still holds up, which I find personally amazing. Well written, and it will get a couple of laughs out of you, no matter how bitter and jaded that you are. And, sometimes, well, all right, here's my strategy for this game. Use all the things on all the things and hope things happen. That's basically it. And I'm sure that was, way back in the day. That would have been like 9 or 10-year-old Vin's strategy of getting this done, because I remember playing other games like Phantasmagoria and things like that. And I was like, combine items. All right, nothing. Try this, try this, try this. Got a good laugh. Tried the hamster on the guy sleeping in the bed. And dude said, that won't fit. Got a good laugh out of me. Still, that definitely happened.
It's Kentucky jelly.
It was definitely a thing. But a lot of cool things happened in 93 when this game was released. We had our first X-Files TV show, Hadaway's What Is Love came out, Dazed and Confused, the movie appeared, and if we're on the topic of movies, come on, the release of Groundhog Day. Day of the Tentacle, on the other hand, kind of a bit more of a side note at best. I mean, it was a good attempt, but even at that point in time, in 93, the point-and-click adventure game genre had been going on for a while, and it was very much tapering off. It was like, but what about Full Throttle in 99? All right, exceptions are always made for exceptional games, and that was an exceptional game. But like all the movies and the TV shows from 93 that I just mentioned, none of that ever needs to be remastered, and I don't think this necessarily did either. I think the original version still holds up, still maintains its charm, and it's pixel goodness. But hey, who am I to say? Again, that's my view from 2016. 2 chairs.
Yeah, I never really got into playing point-and-click adventure games. I mean, up until I started doing Linux Gamecast, I think I really only played maybe like 1 or 2, sporadically, if at all. One of them was Myst in my therapist's office, and then I went into his office and talked about the trauma that Myst had caused. He also had Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Atlantis, so I actually played a lot more of that, but I digress. This is definitely a point-and-click adventure game. It operates on, Sierra logic. Unfortunately, I operate on, regular human logic. So a lot of it is just me doing what Ven did and clicking things on other things. And eventually I got to a point where I had to check a walkthrough because I had no idea what the shit I needed to do. And I progressed the plot a little bit. I flushed things down the time toilet. And no one should ever let me.
You were absolutely horrible at point-and-click games.
I suck at them. Like I said, I operate on regular logic. But I actually wanted to see where this is going because you know what? It is a pretty funny game. Some of the dialogue actually got a pretty good chuckle out of me, and for what it is, it's good. It's just not my cup of chainsaw, as it were. I can't really say I hated the game, but much like the leader of the neutral planet, I have no strong feelings one way or the other. 2 chairs.
Yeah. So let's talk game genres. Platformers I've grown tired of. RTS, I hate them with a passion. Sports games, why? Just why? Point and click adventures outside of Grim Fandango, I never really saw the appeal. And Day of the Hentai Sex Instrument is a very good example of that. The game and other LucasArts / Sierra games back in the 90s spawned the video game logic meme before memes were even a thing. At one point, near the start of the game, in order to release one of your characters so you can play as it, you need to paint the kumquats in a tree red, so an NPC thinks that they're another fruit and chops down said tree. Eh? Now, my save game says that I'm 25% of the way through. I don't know how. And they don't call me Plagiarism for anything because in one of his 0 punctuations, Yahtzee once said that if point-and-click adventure games were a disease, the first symptom would be kleptomania. And because that's exactly what you're doing. Most of the times you're rubbing, like Ven already said, you're rubbing a stolen thing on another thing to perhaps create a third thing, maybe? Or make a fourth thing happen. Let's go with that. And most of the times when said rubbing does produce an effect other than the refusal of the character you're controlling at the time, I have no idea why it worked. I guess that's kind of how most people did it back in the day, but back then you didn't have the option to hold down the shift key to highlight the interactable stuff. That wasn't there. So I wonder how most people got through it. 2 chairs.
Well, I'll tell you how. On your old 640 by 480 screen, you had to click a lot less real estate than on your 28. I mean, let's be real here. So that's 2 chairs for funny. Yeah, it's really it is pretty funny, I would say. And Day of the Tentacle Remastered Edition walks away with 3 chairs. Final thoughts?
Yep. Let's take a look here. So let's check it out. Listen, I know, like I said, full disclaimer, because I like throwing that in there because sometimes you get the racist tree commenting on the YouTubes. It's like, yeah, you hitting it. And then I just give them the timestamp, and I was like, this is exactly where I said never played the game before. So, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily my bag. I'm not bored with it. This is definitely one of those games that I would take with me, stuck on an island with a lappy and pretty decent solar panels and no interwebs, because fuck all, it'll take me a while to finish it because there's a lot of trial and error. I will say this, if you've loved the game, because I got a lot of response when I posted just a screenshot of the G+, it was like, I'm genuinely trying to figure out, use hamster with flagpole. And I was like, well, that didn't work. But tried to figure it out. A lot of people just, kicked in with a nostalgia trip, which is awesome. You're seeing it through that lens. And if you want to bring that back, I think this is a perfect way to do it. It's done well. It runs well. No issues with it whatsoever, technically. But just buy it if you love the game, reasonably priced. But if you're not, I mean, it was like point and click game in 2016. I wonder if that's a good invest. Probably not going to like it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to continue playing it just because it's one of those cultural things that I need to get around to it. Now there's zero excuse. I was like, I got to install DOSBox or just SCUMM and all that. Now it's there, so I have no excuse. I'm going to continue playing it.
Yeah, how much we recommend Day of the Tentacle is solely based on how thick a pair of nostalgia glasses you have on. Because if you are from a newer generation of gamers, you're not going to enjoy it. It operates in 90s adventure game logic, and that is the extreme of the video game logic meme. Considering how obtuse some of the puzzles are, it's impressive that anyone even managed to finish it back in 1993 when the internet wasn't as widespread as it is now. So, yeah, keep that in mind if you are looking at the Steam page for this game.
Yeah, Pedro, your little Tentacruel joke was a little unexpected, but Craw don't think you can get away with it because I'm on to you. Day of the Tentacle. It is definitely a thing. If you like point and click adventure games, pick it up. If you don't, this probably won't change your mind. Like Ven said, it is an interesting cultural artifact. A lot of stuff references it or is referenced by it, and if playing it may enhance other games that you have played subsequently or previously based on that additional context. Point and click adventure games aren't really my thing, so I was neutral about it. But yeah, it's reasonably priced. Pick it up. Double Fine's been supporting Linux like for a long time, so they deserve your support.